Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway Flipside. My name's Mary.
My name is Luke.
And today, we're not going to talk about Batman again.
Yeah, so that's our little plug for our Cape Crusader mini-series of podcasts that we dumped, what was it, last week?
Yeah, we did 10 episodes, and we released them on the same day. So they're not going to be episodes that are going to detail each and every part of the episode. They're just our opinions and the things that we liked. Some of the things we didn't like, which, spoilers, wasn't very much.
Yeah. But yeah, if you are a fan of Batman Cape Crusader and would like to hear what we think about each episode, consider listening to our mini-series.
Yeah.
It's gone very well so far, actually. I think it's been successful. Lots of new commenters. We need to catch up on those comments, don't we, Mary?
Yeah, I've had some work that I've had to actually go to, being an everyday human. So I've had to do that. And obviously Luke has a full-time job. So this weekend, I will catch up on all the comments and I will try to do better and put some time every day to check them. No promises on getting... Like, if you comment, no promises, like an hour later I'll get back to you because my Sims family needs me.
So Mary, why don't we move on from Cape Crusader, because I know you told me you're fed up of hearing about it.
Just for a little bit.
Let's talk about this topic of today's episode, which is...
Dogpool? No, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
So we went to see this movie 2 weeks ago. Maybe. I don't know. Time is just a construct. Like,
it might have been a week ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could have been 5 months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't 5 months ago. But it's just everything is kind of bleeding together and becoming this like mucky water type thing in terms of time. But we went to go see this movie some time ago. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. And I should put this out there right now. This is going to include a ton of spoilers. So
yes.
if you haven't seen the movie or you aren't going to see the movie and you don't care, go ahead and listen. But if not, turn off and then come back whenever you have seen the movie.
Yes.
We'll be here.
You know the drill. We don't really hide spoilers when we talk about stuff. So, if you're listening and you are concerned by spoilers, now is your time to drop off.
Good day.
All right. So let's drop into it, Mary. First thing, straight ahead. What is the first thing that comes to your mind about Deadpool and Wolverine?
Well, at the moment, money.
Money.
Yeah.
And by that you mean?
The amount of money this movie has made.
Oh, right. Yes, yeah. So I saw there was a news article put out earlier in the week, can't remember the exact day, as we said, we're having difficulty measuring time, that said that it's well on its way to earning $1 billion.
Yeah, within like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, within 3 weeks of release.
Oh, that tells you how long we saw it then. We saw it 2
weeks ago.
Yeah, because it usually comes out a week later in the UK.
It released the same time over here.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, we saw it the first weekend.
Oh my God, is the UK becoming cool again?
Sometimes we get those films early, Mary.
Which is ones I don't want to see. Yeah, I was really impressed with that. Like, really, really impressed. Because this is, it's a 15 over here.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I needed to check that because I wanted to see if one of my nieces could go. She can't. But, yeah, I don't know what it is in the States. Is it an R in the States?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, but this is a 15 movie that will surpass £1 billion.
Dollars.
Yeah, dollars, whatever. I'm an expat, so tomato. Yeah. Yeah, this is it's such a great... Ryan Reynolds, honestly, went from Green Lantern to this. I'm never saying anything bad about Two Guys, Girl, and a Pizza Place because I loved that TV show. I loved it before it turned into Two Guys and a Girl. And I will love it for as long as I'm alive.
I've never seen it.
It was an ABC comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. It was in the 90s, so it was very 90s. So yeah, let's move on to another topic because I am incredibly jealous of the bonuses that they will be making.
You assume.
Before we get into the cameos and comedy of it, let's talk about the continuity.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of like criticism of Marvel movies recently with people like saying, "Oh, I feel like I need to watch all of these extra Disney Plus shows to understand what's going on," and who's got the time for that? The same is true for Deadpool and Wolverine, and you also need to have watched the old Fox Marvel movies, the X-Men in particular, excuse me. And yet, that hasn't been a barrier for people to go and see the movie.
Well, especially people our age who had probably already seen those movies.
Yeah.
Just in passing.
Yeah.
Because one movie I can say that I saw just in passing was Fantastic Four, for instance.
Yeah.
I saw that in passing, but I didn't feel like I needed to have seen all of them.
Mm-hmm. So you're telling me you haven't watched Fantastic Four 2 Rise of the Silver Surfer with Larry Fishburne as the Silver Surfer?
Well, I went to see that.
You did? Oh, well, you've seen them all then.
No, there are some of the newer movies I have not newer movies, newer TV shows I have not seen.
Yeah.
I don't I mean, I probably do have time for it if I made time. It's just I would like to be able to do other things in life.
Yeah, I kind of raise my eyebrow at those complaints a little bit because they're mostly complaining about things that are perceived to be like female led. So like, oh, I don't have time to watch that. Like, you probably do. And
Yeah.
you probably should, and you shouldn't dismiss it just because it's got, it's She-Hulk or the Eternals or whatever. I'm not saying that those are the greatest shows of all time, but I enjoyed watching them.
Yeah, see, when I do watch one of those TV shows or movies, I actually really enjoy it. It's just I don't want to have to watch all of them as soon as they come out.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that there are a lot of female-oriented movies and TV shows out these days because there's been a market for it our entire lives, and it's nice to finally say, girl power isn't just with the Spice Girls.
Yes, yeah. So I guess the kind of point I was making is that people complain about having to know what's going on in the other shows and the other movies, and yet this movie really does require you to know what happened in all of the old movies and some of the more recent TV shows. But yeah, I know I've kind of been on my soapbox a little bit about Lady Penguin, or I should just say Penguin, and the very small but vocal group of people that don't like her because she's a lady when she should be a man.
Who said?
Well, exactly. But if you look at the comments on that video, it's overwhelmingly positive. It's like, I would probably say 95% positivity, 5%.
Yeah. But this is a Wolverine Deadpool.
Sorry, I know we talked about Cape Crusader so much. I'm desperately trying to work it into everything. Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't like the fact that you might have to look into the continuity of a franchise or of a Fox or Disney, just don't watch it. If you're going to complain about it, then don't. But if you're not going to complain about it, you enjoy it, totally do it. But
to be frank, I haven't seen very many people complaining about needing to know what was going on in this film, which is kind of my point.
Yeah.
I did see some critics saying that they didn't get any of the references and it fell flat for them. And that was kind of the thing I was worried about, that it was going to be like just a constant member fest, Just like, oh, remember Pyro? Oh, remember such and such? And it totally was, but it was done in a good way. They were very self-referential. They were very winking at the camera the whole time. I'm going to talk a little bit about a cameo now. I know I'm jumping ahead, but...
No, I was going to say, because we're talking about continuity and everything, let's go on to the other topic. Let's just have it just for continuity purposes, let's talk about cameos now.
Okay, yeah. Well, so obviously the cameo, I think my favourite cameo. Well, there are lots of different cameos. This is really going to be difficult for me to explain. But so you have the different variants of Wolverine. Those are the first ones I want to talk about.
Everybody knows what I'm going to say about my favorite cameo.
Yes. But then there are also cameos of classic Marvel movie characters appearing in it. No, but let's start with the Wolverine variants.
Okay. Actually, that's a lie. My second favorite one is part of the Wolverines, because you know what my favorite one is going to be.
Do you want to say?
The end. Okay, so let's talk about the Wolverines. For example, there's this sequence where Deadpool's going back. Not going back, but
he's dimension hopping, looking for
whatever that's called.
A new version of Wolverine.
One that would be like honorable or whatever. And you get there's like awesome sequences of different types of Wolverine, like comic book Wolverine.
Yes, just mentioned comic book accurate Wolverine, as they call him, who is 5 foot tall, and they've superimposed Hugh Jackman's face on a short king, and it's a cheap joke, but it was amusing.
Yeah, is that your favorite Wolverine?
No,
I was about to say you have Apocalypse Wolverine.
That was my favourite one. Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, complete with the massive hair that looked absolutely ridiculous. But he's missing his, what is it? Is his left hand? His right hand? He's missing a hand anyway, and he's got like an adamantium cap over where the hand should be. And he's practically feral. He just beats the tar out of Deadpool for no reason at all. And Deadpool's like, "You're very angry for some reason. I could just leave."
Why? What were the other ones? Don't mention the one that
yeah, okay, so there's brown suit Wolverine, tan suit Wolverine, with a cameo from the Hulk, and that was a very funny sequence where Deadpool's like, "Hang on a minute, didn't you wear this outfit when you fought the?" And then you just hear and see the Hulk reflected in, was it Wolverine's claws or was it Deadpool's sword? Anyway, you see him reflected in something. There was the crucified Wolverine from a cover of Uncanny X-Men drawn by Mark Silvestri. What number was it? It was like 260 something like that. Big Mikey P will probably correct me in the comments.
As he should.
And it's just like, that one was very darkly funny because Wolverine has been crucified on this X, this cross in the shape of an X. And he just spends the whole time like wailing, and there's just like all these skulls around him. He's like been crucified on a mountain of skulls, and Deadpool's like, "Do you want me to get you down?" And just this place is very scary.
And then we have Henry Cavill Wolverine.
Oh, yes.
That was so freaking cool. So I love Henry Cavill's Superman. So when I had no idea he was going to make a cameo in that. And when I saw it, I was like, yeah! He's finally back. Different superhero, but still finally back.
Yeah, and I thought he made quite a good Wolverine. I mean, he's only in it for about a minute at most. But
wasn't my favorite cameo. It was my favorite Wolverine.
Yeah. In
terms of like those ones, my favorite Wolverine's always gonna and forever gonna be the animated series one. Second favorite Wolverine's Hugh Jackman.
That was a missed opportunity actually, because we talked about this after the film. They should have done a sequence that was set in X-Men '97 with Ryan Reynolds as an animated version of Ryan Reynolds, or even better.
I mentioned that, didn't I?
Well, that's what I just said. A live-action version of Ryan Reynolds superimposed into X-Men '97. That would have been just the icing on the cake.
That would have been marvelous. But that wasn't my favorite cameo, though.
No. So
there are two cameos in this that are actually really important to the storyline. We're not going to go completely into the storyline, but there are two that we always wondered what happened to them and why they never came back after that. And that is the person who played Pyro.
What was his name? Aaron Stanford, was it?
Stanford. And then Tyler Maine's Sabretooth.
Oh my good God. They made such a big deal about Sabretooth in that trailer before the film came out. And, big spoiler, obviously. Wolverine decapitates him in like 10 seconds, and that's it. He's gone. He's dead. So
you see those two, which Pyro's storyline's kind of cool, but there are funnier bits. For example, one of the funniest, even though albeit short, cameos was Chris Evans.
Oh, and they did such a wonderful job of setting it up because he's got this like cloak over himself.
Yeah.
That's got a little bit of red, white, and blue on it, and you think, oh, they've brought him back as Captain America. Oh, of course they have. And everyone thinks this is Captain America. Deadpool's like, oh my god, it's Cap. Yeah, we're gonna win. And when it comes time to have the confrontation with the forces of Cassandra Nova, he takes the cloak off and goes, flame on.
Yeah, and oh my god, I was so excited when I saw that.
Very good joke.
Oh, it was just perfection. Like, you think, and you're like, yeah, Cap. And then Johnny comes out, and it's like, yeah. That is the Chris Evans cameo we needed. We didn't know we needed until we saw it.
Yes. And I mean, just talking about the fate of Johnny Storm. Oh my god. So the first thing is he gets knocked out of the air quite quickly and kind of lands on his head from a great height. Surprised that didn't kill him, but no, he survived, and
of course
he's quite coherent. I'm just thinking about all of the insults he said. So he's taken with Deadpool and Wolverine to Cassandra Nova, and Deadpool just blurts out all the things that, you know, that and he said Johnny Cage then. Johnny Storm has been saying, and we never see this in the film, so it just seems like Deadpool's making shit up.
Yeah, as he does.
Just getting more and more elaborate as he's going on.
Yeah.
And Johnny Storm's there just like going, I did not say that. I don't even know what half of these expressions mean. Stick around for the post-credits scene of the movie, because Deadpool goes back to the TVA and rewinds to their time while they're being transported to Cassandra Nova, and you see Chris Evans actually saying all of those things. So Deadpool wasn't lying.
Yeah.
He was just repeating what had been said to him, and he's like, now I've got the evidence. Suck it, Johnny.
It's brilliant.
Of course, Johnny Storm was dead by that point. He got gruesomely skinned, didn't he?
We get to see Happy in this as well.
Oh, Jon Favreau. Yeah, Happy Hogan.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but Jon Favreau is one of my favorite directors and actors in terms of our generation's type of thing. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites.
Yeah. You like those roundtable interviews?
Yes, Dinner. I think it was called Dinner Dinner for 8 or Dinner for 5, something like that. It was on IFC or Sundance, and it was brilliant. It was kind of like an iconoclast of this group of people who sometimes were friends and everything, just talking about just movie shit. And it was for someone like myself who really loves like classic movies and stuff like that. And yeah, and I love all of that stuff, and I love kind of useless information too. So that was really nice.
Yeah. I mean, the whole story about Deadpool wanting to prove his worth by joining the Avengers and having Happy Hogan be just basically give him a polite talking down.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, we'll keep your details on record, but no.
Yeah.
It was quite touching.
It was really, I mean, I keep saying it was perfection, but I don't say this a lot about new age movies. Like, I don't. But this was just comedy gold. Like, it was funny. And I cannot believe they didn't have Sir Pat Steele.
We're going to talk about that later on.
And you know he's my favorite Magneto.
Michael Fassbender.
No, Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes.
But there's still
loads of cameos.
Blake Lively, also known as Mrs. Reynolds.
Yeah, as Lady Deadpool.
Literally, I hit your arm. Well, I didn't hit his arm, but I was like, oh my god, is that sounds like Blake Lively?
Yeah, apparently their children were in it as well as the younger Deadpools.
Oh.
Like the kid Pool, the one that was very sweary.
Yeah, of course.
Is Ryan Reynolds' daughter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it was his daughter. Might be mistaken. But yeah, I know it was his children.
Can we talk about near the end? Like when my favorite one comes along. Can you talk?
Your favorite one?
Yes.
Favorite one or ones?
Well, my all-time favorite, you know who that is. Wesley Snipes as Blade.
yeah, that was. I didn't expect that at all. Did not expect
No,
it
I
at
didn't.
all.
When I saw it, I literally think I went like,
yeah,
because I was just so stoked.
Because Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra, I wasn't surprised by that. I thought, okay, yeah, that's a good reference, yeah. And Daphne Keane coming back as X-23 or you know, Lady Wolverine.
Loved that, by the way.
Yep, she was great as well. Wasn't surprised by that at all.
But another one we were surprised about.
Two that surprised us.
Yeah.
Okay, Wesley Snipes' Blade, and immediately afterwards thought, oh yeah, of course. Why didn't I think of that before?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But that was my favorite.
But the other one, the huge deep cut reference,
which was genius,
was Channing Tatum as Gambit.
He finally got his role as Gambit.
Yeah, because I mean, it's got to be over a decade ago that they did a presentation at Comic-Con. And they announced that Channing Tatum was developing a Gambit movie, and it never happened, partly because of the Disney merger. And then he's just got to do it, and he was wonderful. He was really great. I loved how impenetrable his accent was. I mean, I still understood what he was saying. It's like, I never knew my daddy.
Yeah.
That was terrible. That was way too southern. But in like southwestern, I suppose.
If he doesn't get either a chunk of another of these movies to show his Gambit ability, or if he doesn't get his own movie out of this, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain he will feature in future Marvel stuff.
'Cause it was, the thing is, I always thought, oh, Channing Tatum is Gambit. Okay, I can believe it. I know him from what are those movies that I like with Ice Cube? 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street, yeah.
And like Magic Mike and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, he might be able to do it, because he is kind of he's very funny outside of movies and stuff. And when it happened, oh my God, I was like, he is our generation's Gambit.
Yeah. And you know, the action scene with that small group of people, where they were storming the base of Cassandra Nova, was just so delightfully over the top. I say delightfully quite a lot, but it was so over the top. Like Daphne Keene's Wolverine ends up slicing off Juggernaut's, was it his legs at the knee, or was it his feet at the ankles?
I think it was his knees.
Yeah, I think she cut them off at the knee. And that is basically how they defeated Juggernaut and stole his helmet, was by cutting his legs off.
Yeah.
And you know, you have Elektra there stabbing all these cameo characters. Like, I think she stabbed Lady Deathstrike, or was that Blade? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But it was very gruesome and very violent, very over the top, and it was just great. It could have very easily descended into chaos that was very hard to follow. But I found the staging of the fight scenes to be very clear and crisp, and they used quite a bit of slow motion, particularly with Gambit, like charging up his cards and then throwing them at people, or doing little spin kicks and hitting people with his staff.
His dream come true.
Yeah.
Channing's dream come true.
So I'm trying to put myself in the position of someone that knows nothing about any of these films. Doesn't know that Channing Tatum has wanted to be Gambit for like 15 years. And it's just never happened. Maybe even someone who just doesn't know who Gambit is. And I could see why it might fall a little flat for you. But it was so well made and genuinely funny. I think it surpassed the label of just being cameo bait, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is, the cameos weren't just there to say, oh, hey, they had meaning to it. There was a reason why they were there, and I really like that, rather than just having a character just be in the background or something like that, or just saying hello to them. The cameos had a meaning, which maybe that can lead on to what we want for hopefully the next ones, or the ones that we wanted in this one.
Yeah. I mean, there were some... I mean, they make a wonderful joke about this resistance group that's Gambit, Elektra, Blade, and X-23. Said one of their members, there used to be 5 of them. 2 wonderful jokes, actually. One of them was Daredevil was killed, and Ryan Reynolds goes to Elektra, oh, I'm sorry about that. She goes, I don't care. Obviously, it's a reference to the real life divorce between Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck,
which I'm not caught up with, but hey.
That genuinely made me laugh.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're not...
Yeah, that made me laugh.
If you're not knowledgeable on that, then I suppose that joke may fall.
But the thing is, like, she looked like she enjoyed that, though.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and I bet he loved that. Clapping along, whooping and hollering, going, yeah, to hell with that guy.
Yeah. You talking about Ben Affleck?
Yes.
Yeah, I could totally see him getting in on that joke.
Yeah.
Like,
the other joke that I really... Again, it was funny, but it hurt. It hurt a little bit. is that the other member of the group was Magneto, but Cassandra Nova had killed him like the day before. And Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool goes, "Oh, Disney, you're too cheap to pay for Magneto. I would have accepted Michael Fassbender. I wanted Ian McKellen, but I would have accepted Michael Fassbender." So that's kind of one of the characters I would have wanted to see in it. It would have been nice to have a final hurrah for Ian McKellen, because he's getting on now. He's in his 80s.
We need one more.
Well,
more.
There's still the Secret Wars movie that they've announced. You know, Secret Wars brings together all the different heroes from different continuities, I suppose, or at least the recent Secret Wars did, and kind of makes its own thing.
Yeah, they should have shown the death of the X-Men.
Yes, yeah. So the big thing with the Wolverine in this movie, the one that Hugh Jackman plays, obviously, and is selected by Deadpool, he's supposed to be the worst Wolverine because he abandoned the X-Men and they were all murdered by a mob of humans, and he heard them dying and he didn't act quick enough. When he got there, in a drunken rage, he murdered all of the mob. But, the X-Men were all dead. He was far too late.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was very poignant where, the reason why he wears that yellow and blue costume is that the X-Men were always trying to get him to join in and he just refused.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Look, we've even made this costume for you. It's perfect. It's really good." And he just wasn't interested until they were gone. And then he just wears it all the time as like a memorial to them.
Yeah. Sweet.
But, they had that scene inside Wolverine's head where he's standing among those massive stones, which I have to assume were like gravestones in his mind. And Cassandra Nova's talking to him about what happened. And, it's a very nice performance from Hugh Jackman, very moving. And you hear sound effects from it happening, which is quite artistic and quite effective. But it would have been nice to, if you got people like Halle Berry in, or
Famke Janssen.
Yeah, Famke Janssen, or what's her name, Anna Paquin, something like that. What's his name? Sean Astmore, is that his name? No, I can't remember. The guy who played Iceman. I'm sorry if I've butchered his name. But if you had a couple of those, even if it was just briefly.
Oh, and Elliot Page.
Yeah, I don't know if Elliot Page would play Kitty Pryde anymore, but maybe. But I feel like that would have been, I don't know. Do we need to see the X-Men being brutally murdered? Probably not.
No.
But I feel like nice isn't the right word, but it would have just kind of completed it for me, I think.
Do you know what I would have loved to have seen?
Go on.
And this is gonna be out there and whatever. Ben Affleck is Batman. I know it's like two
I don't know.
Marvel DC merging, but it just would have been hella funny if he would have if Deadpool would have gone to another dimension and instead of Wolverine it was just Ben Affleck's Batman.
That actually would have been quite funny. Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, or George Clooney, then the reference to the Flash.
Oh my god. Yes.
But in terms of other Marvel movie characters that we didn't see in the film, I mean, we mentioned the X-Men and Magneto, but Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, come on, that could have been fun. I suppose they already had one flame-based character with Johnny Storm, but any old excuse to see Nick Cage on a motorbike with a blazing skull.
It would have been nice to see the TV show ones, like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I loved Luke Cage. That was one of my favorite shows to watch at the time.
Yeah.
I just loved it. Brilliant performances, and I loved it.
Yeah.
The actor's amazing.
Would have been nice. One that was a bit left field. So I would have quite liked if they'd got someone like Rosemary Harris, who was Aunt May in the Sam Raimi movies.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if she's still alive, frankly, because she seemed like she was quite old in those Sam Raimi movies. So she's probably not even working anymore. But if they could have got like a dupe for Aunt May, that would have been quite funny.
Where they only show the back of her head.
Yeah. Just see it from a distance.
Are you disappointed they didn't do the Spider-Mans?
No, because they were already in the Spider-Man.
Same.
No Way Home. Also, there's probably some sort of contractual thing with Sony you'd have to work out.
Yeah,
Probably.
I
don't know.
I was not disappointed to not see the Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a fair point. That's probably why they didn't put Aunt May in there. I mean, they wouldn't have done that anyway, but it would have made me laugh. or J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah, that would have been really great.
But then we've already seen him in Homecoming, and he was in one of the Venoms as well, wasn't he? Briefly.
Oh, you know what they could have done? They could have put Pedro Pascal in there because of the new Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, he's a busy man, Pedro Pascal. He's highly in demand.
Yeah, he's working on that Last of Us, I think.
Yeah. They had a trailer for The Last of Us Season 2 come out, which was looking nice. Yeah, okay, so
I want to know what you thought about the overall comedy.
Overall level of comedy, I thought it was nice. It was a constant stream of gags, which some people may find exhausting, but I liked it. Again, if you don't follow the movies or the characters, then some of the jokes would have just gone right over your head.
Yeah.
But this was a movie that was unashamedly made for fans of the characters, and I think it shows that there is an audience for these films still. I know a lot of people have been talking about Marvel fatigue, but this film
refreshes everything.
Well, this film required more knowledge and investment of time than anything else that has ever been released, and it's hugely successful.
And I've said this before about other shows, like including Batman, Cape Crusader. But with this, you can really tell that fans made this movie.
Yeah.
And it all of their hard work paid off, and it was funny, even for someone like me who, I have to be honest with you, like I said, I'm not the biggest person to fall in love with newer movies because I think a lot of them are boring. But this one, it was action, it was comedy, it had a little bit of sadness in there.
There's a lot of pathos, particularly with their Wolverine. And I like that. And we didn't actually talk about his costume, did we?
No.
So this is a curious thing.
You did a little bit, but...
So this was a curious thing about the film. We noticed when we went to go and see it, they had all the posters up, and it had Wolverine wearing the full costume, including the headgear. And we were like, I've never seen that before. I didn't know he was going to wear the mask. I mean, I suppose it's a silly thing to think, but they never showed it. And I kind of feel like they spoiled the moment where he puts the mask on.
It did not for me, because I didn't even notice it was on the tin and cup that I bought until afterwards.
Well, you commented on it though when we were walking in, because they had a big poster up, and you went, "Oh, I didn't know he wore the mask."
Oh, I had popcorn, Mary, because I don't have popcorn very often anymore, and I was like, I'm enjoying this. Oh, look at that.
But it's that sequence where he puts the mask on. And it's basically just like a cover so he doesn't get blood in his eyes, because he tears the army of Deadpool variants to pieces. Now, obviously, those Deadpool variants were very funny as well, like Cowboy Deadpool, who was apparently voiced by Matthew McConaughey. And you mentioned Lady Deadpool.
Oh, I love Lady Deadpool.
Nathan Fillion was Headpool, who's like this rotting head in a like a little helicopter thing.
We didn't even mention the best part of the entire
here we go.
thing. Peter!
Oh, I thought you were going to say Dogpool.
Oh, well, Dogpool, I kind of made a joke about that, but Peter!
Yeah, I mean, that was a funny joke.
That was so
How do you stop an army of Deadpools? Bring out their best friend, Peter.
Yeah.
Because every Deadpool has a Peter.
Yeah!
And if Peter says stop, they listen.
Yeah.
And there's just like an army of them going, Peter! Peter! Hey! Giving him hugs, high fives.
Peter!
Yeah. That was very funny. Again, it's a reference to the last movie that would have fallen flat for a lot of people, because
it was a wholesome moment in this whole huge, like, grossly epic fight scene that's going on. That's kind of like gnarly. You get this like, Peter! And it's really wholesome that all of them come together and they stop the violence because of Peter.
Yeah. I mean, I think any trained script writer would probably tear the script up for this movie and throw it out.
But who cares about them?
The fact that it defies like all of the traditional rules, or not all of them, but many of the traditional rules of script writing, I think is what makes it successful.
Yeah.
Rules are there to be broken sometimes.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that is a good place to tell you to go see the movie, whether that's in the cinema, or when it comes out inevitably. I can never say that word.
Inevitably.
Oh my god, I said it. On digital and demand.
Yeah, it'll be on Disney Plus in a couple of months. So, if you have listened to this without watching it, shame on you.
Shame. That's another reference. Shame.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. You do what you like. Live your life how you want to live
You
it.
live your life.
You're not hurting anyone.
As long as you don't
Just yourself.
As long as you're not hurting anybody and you're not making anybody feel sad, you do you, boo-boo.
Yeah. All right, so I guess this movie gets Mary's thumbs up.
Yes. 2 3/4 thumbs up.
I think. How does it compare to the other Deadpool films for you?
I like the other 2 Deadpools, but they weren't like. I mean, I've rewatched them once or twice, but I think this one is just the best one.
It certainly had a higher budget. Because the first one seemed very low budget, but I really liked the first one. Second one was good too, but
in terms of script, I have to say the first one. Mm-hmm. I love the script more, but in terms of like the overall movie, probably the third one. Until they get Ian McKellen.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who knows? Maybe in the...
Even if they do a Zoom call of Magneto wearing the costume and they're having, like, connection issues and just having Ian McKellen in the full, Magneto garb. Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, y'all can take that idea. You're welcome.
I wish Ian McKellen was on Cameo, because then I would get him to do the Magneto speech from X-Men 97.
Once a month.
Bigot. Ingrate. Sycophant. Worm.
All right, let's get to the comments. Can we do Big Mikey P's first?
Yeah, well, he's the first commenter, so we're going straight over to Big Mikey P with his latest novel. And he says, we'll try to catch up on Cape Crusader and the accompaniment Flipside stuff. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Big Mikey P.
So this is in reference to our last episode about the final 3 episodes of X-Men 97, Tolerance is Extinction. Mm-hmm. And he says, I'm a fan of Bastion and his embedded Sentinels, and one of those people who kind of adore the sleeper agent concept. Take, say, multiversal defense operatives working undercover in all known universes out there with only one capable agent or a fire team for every unassuming city, if not state, for their job is to covertly keep tabs on said universe via monitoring threat anomalies beyond said versus jurisdiction and capabilities, or, if worst comes to worst, be a rearguard when things suddenly render a prime directive moot. 6 minutes and 7 seconds. Yeah, I don't know Cassandra Nova, so the hype on her is lost on me. Heard she's in Deadpool and Wolverine, by the way, but I do have fears of it and the current MCU's quality, so I'm going to avoid it for now. Oh no, does that mean Big Mikey P's not going to listen to this episode? Possibly. 641, as I've weirdly said, Earth 92131 benefits lots when they're parroting from the best of the DC animated universe when it comes to serious retcons. 738, Mary, it's more like the oh god, I can't even say this. Brainuthor, there we go. Brainuthor Lexiac revelation all over again from Superman the Animated Series, Ghost in the Machine to Justice League's Divided We Fall. Earth 92131 sure does benefit a bit from the cameo spotlight scenes. Gotta love Iron Man and Captain America defending President Kelly. Mm-hmm. Plus seeing Peter Parker and Mary Jane being A-OK. Now all we need is to see exactly how they tied up the Spider-Man the Animated Series loose ends. Pity they also mean that you have to look up certain characters because they aren't named at all and come out of nowhere at all. Not helping is that the X-Men and Spider-Man the Animated Series wikis aren't as well constructed as the DCAU's and Teen Titans. Well, I don't have nothing to add about that.
Have I ever mentioned which one I like more?
No.
Marvel or DC? I'm a DC gal. Not to say that I don't like Marvel, I'm just a DC gal, so I appreciate that their wiki is the best.
I like Batman and X-Men, and that's mostly it. X-Men 97's animation sure has come a long way from the ACOM level animation of the old Marvel cartoons, hell yes. However, that also means newcomers and veterans will be more let down and, at times, into eye-rolling in how cheap and crude the past shows are, while DC's Tim Murakami Matsuda and whoever Batman Brave and the Bold's main animator was styles have gloriously aged better. Brave and the Bold was James Tucker. I'm always annoyed by Magneto's small people speeches, and the sooner he gets offed like the criminal that he is, the better. At least Bastion's global madness is more believable and quite refreshing with a little pro-mutant hypocrisy, and also gives off a more successful if destructive message. 22 minutes and 42 seconds. Sounds like J.R.R. Tolkien's The New Shadowcan sequel for The Lord of the Rings. Sauron's dead and gone, but Arnor and Gondor will inevitably fall. Elisar's heirs will eventually decline to entropy once more. Elves, dwarves, and even hobbits will seemingly pass on due to mankind's rise. An aforementioned new shadow will rise, and millennia will pass until Elfwine and even Tolkien himself will write about, if not find old records of Middle-earth circa the 7th Age. Yes, the real-life Earth actually is a thing in Arda's Middle-earth's lore, as its bittersweet distant future. The good will always become boring as time goes on, after all. Not that I'm misanthropic, though. And one of those folks who know that, yes, multiversal theory equals everything doesn't matter, but why should I care for Alman's spiel? For I and others would rather keep on living and have worthwhile fun no matter what, never-ending battle or no. I got that reference. That was Crisis on Two Earths. Do.
You're so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I know. I got one of his references. I don't really understand the show taking shade on live-action movie costumes. I actually like those enough, and they sure felt more appropriate to the grounded world they were worn in. Oh, and Wolverine should have worn a commando look based on his comic book X-Force black and white with red eyes outfit. Yeah, I agree, but I love the tan outfit. 2647, gotta love that season 1 final line, surprisingly enough. 2817, correction. Marvel stuff is way, way complicated compared to DC, surprisingly. Too many hero civil wars and too less undivisive Elseworlds what if stuff. For example, that noise was me doing like a scratch out. I actually sympathise with President Kelly more than Magneto, though. At least he's done more than Truman and Garfield, in my opinion, though I suspect the female president, what was her name, before him did better. I don't think they ever said her name. She was just Madam President. In short, Earth 92131 seriously needs to get the dark yet necessary old man Logan route of being a damaged yet thankfully healing world without mutant rights anvils. No proper superhero organisation and supervillains easily escaping cardboard prisons, so dooming it a while is quite beneficial in the long run. So, concern you, X-Men. Concern? I've never heard that word before. I wonder if it's a typo. Anyway, may the new Avengers force you to permanently disband. Well, somebody doesn't like X-Men. Man, Morph showing off his feelings to Wolverine really makes one rewatch the old X-Men the animated series in a different light. Brings into mind Bonnie and Marcy's over the course of Adventure Time. Sarcastically, whoop-de-doo, more apocalypse and time travel. Not remotely what I had in mind of how the first season should end and how the second season should go. And yet it's completely in keeping with the comics. I mean, as much as I dislike the time travel stuff and all the space travel, it is in keeping with the source material.
I've never seen Adventure Time.
No, me neither.
Don't know her.
The only thing I know about the Adventure Time characters is what I've seen in Multiverses, which is mostly me playing as Wonder Woman, punching them in the face. Anyway, wonder how Colossus, a noble Russian hero mutant, would fare with audiences and showrunners nowadays, especially when you know what. Also, no mention of Kitty Pryde Shadowcat here. I thought I did mention Kitty Pryde, maybe I didn't. 3715, the time travel stuff will make that Wolverine becomes Horseman moment way too convoluted for our own good. All in all, 97 is good, but like any show and movie saga nowadays, it may suddenly jump the shark so hard and become bad. Beware another Voltron, Legendary Defender, Troll Hunters, and Game of Thrones. Oh, and sorry, Mary, but X-Men the Animated Series and the in accompaniment Spider-Man the Animated Series have not aged like wine, but they at least barely avoided aging badly as a blackface routine.
I've never seen the Spider-Man one.
You never?
No,
Oh.
I wasn't a big fan of. I'm still kind of not a big fan of Spider-Man. I know. I'm sorry, if I've disappointed y'all, but
You like Tom Holland Spider-Man, don't you? Oh no.
yeah. I mean, it's all right. If I sound a little bit far away, it's because the cat's asleep on my hand, and I am not ruining this joyous moment.
I've completely lost my place. I have actually lost my place. Oh, yes, okay. Doing currently halfway binges of both shows recently has made me woefully realise that. Meanwhile, I'm not sure if I can still recommend the Wizard of Oz movie. Can recommend Casablanca and It's a Wonderful Life, though.
Oh, yeah.
4205, just gonna do a bookmark here, and 4239. But I can at least allow the same treatment to one DT. I don't know what DT is. 4608, you can say that. Also, I'm just more aware on proper pronunciations. Case in point, a lot of C's in Tolkien's Legendarium should actually be sounding like K's. 47, I think that's the Germanic influence on the language, because C's often sound like K's there. 4719, I suspect it's because Black Cat cross Michael Morbius just doesn't seem right. Also, the animated series Mary Jane is just not worth rooting for, as Kirsten Dunst's take on the character. See, I never really liked Kirsten Dunst Mary Jane very much. I much prefer Zendaya's.
Next flip side episode is Kristen Dunst's best role in Interview the Vampire.
Oh yeah, that was a good role actually. Yeah, it's very good. 4808 Bochi, not Boki. It's roughly Japanese for Lona, and Bochi, the Rock shout out. Still hoping for the anime adaptation having a possible second season. 4836. I actually forgot to mention this back then. Oh, and you mispronounced Luz and Noah's name. Are we surprised? How do you currently feel on your past experience playing TIE Fighter? I really enjoyed TIE Fighter. It used to have a little flight stick on our PC. I used to play it just for an hour at a time, going around shooting rebel scum, and then going, there we go, done.
Do you know what I did on my computer, the games that we played on that? Encyclopedia.
No, I was going to say Minesweeper.
Yeah.
Chess.
Yeah.
4847, but don't fret too much. I'll try to finish the belated shows eventually. Might take a year, though. 4952. I'm always interested in plot interconnectivity, even in comedies. Undated humour that doesn't focus too much on period piece schlock, and I don't fall asleep with the TV on because it's a waste of bills. Ooh, okay.
Oh, God, don't tell him, Luke.
Yeah, well, Mary, when she gets tired, she just puts it on her phone, so, you know.
What do I put on the phone, though? American Dad or Family Guy, because it's...
It's cycled, because, you used to watch SVU for a while.
I had to stop doing that.
Oh, I know. It kept me awake. I was just laying there watching the show going, no, I need to go to sleep now. 5146, but Corsair isn't a villain and Gladiator Superman level OP-ness is sorely underused. 5929, ooh, seems I'm not alone on the animated Carol Danvers hype. Hope she's not as dry as Brie Larson's take, though, but alas, I do not want the X-Men and Avengers to be allies. I prefer them becoming Civil War foes, but not in a biased fashion favouring the X-Men because they're the stars of the show.
Am I the only one that really liked Brie Larson as Carol Danvers?
I don't think so. I thought she was quite good.
Mm-hmm. I know she's a bit dry and everything, but I think that's the character. I mean...
I didn't think she was dry.
Yeah.
I thought she was quite cheeky in some regards.
Yeah, I thought she was really funny, but I think in terms of dry as in, like, I wish, there was a bit more to it. But that's just...
We have to remember in the first
Marvel.
film she was an amnesiac for most of it as well, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. But I thought she was very good in the Marvels. I enjoyed the Marvels. There, I said it.
It was really good. And I hadn't even seen the Mrs. Marvel, or not Mrs. Marvel, Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, you haven't seen the Miss Marvel show.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a moment in the Miss Marvel show where she gets her blood examined by her friend. He goes, "That's weird. There's something strange about your blood. I've just seen a mutation." And then the music goes, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. I'm like, yes! Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. Anyway, moving on to Lowell Lucas Jr.
Hello.
Hello, hope you're well and recovered from your surgery. Nightcrawler was the GOAT. He shined brightly in the original series with little episodes, but remained brilliant as the 97 series progressed. He was used fantastically and made us longtime fans happy. Mm-hmm. By the way, funny he and Morph never interacted. Their short quips and jokes would have been awesome. To make my comments easier to keep track of, I'll start using bullet points. Thank you. Don't feel bad, Luke and Mary. X-Men has the craziest and sometimes convoluted storylines that series like this and the original 90s show had to hand pick and make edits to stories to make them easily digestible. Yet pays a nod to the original source material for those who seek it. Very similar to BTAS in that respect, and I love it. Even artists like Frank Cho said they loved the characters but couldn't follow the crazy story. Poor Leech. For God's sake, we spent Christmas with him. Yeah, we did. That was quite a nice episode. The one with was it a Merry Morlock Christmas, something like that? Also, I thought it was pretty cool seeing X-Men wear the classic costumes, different but cool in its own way. Also, Cable's new outfit was from the Onslaught era in comics, which was indeed used in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Love it, can't wait for the Versus collection. Me neither. Capcom, release it now. Let me play. Magneto wasn't wrong for putting a stop to Bastion, as Bastion was jeopardising the very innocence he swore needed protection from mutants. Foolish fool. Just as bad as President Kelly launching missiles at a magnetic-themed villain. Seriously, Professor, what did you think would happen when Magnus turned off his powers? Also, wasn't Asteroid M destroyed in the original series, or did Magnus just create another one that no one noticed? There was a very brief scene where he's standing... It looks like he's standing on Muir Island, and he's like summoning what looks like rocks out of the ground, and that's when he constructs his asteroid base. Yeah. I'd love to be able to do that. We wouldn't need to buy a house. Wouldn't need to have a mortgage. Just go stand outside and go, concentrate really hard, and now I've built a space station. Right, see you, everybody.
Sure. If that's where you want to live,
Yeah,
whereas I will live in a house.
Listen, it's a house in space that is like acres in terms of size.
I have
absolutely massive.
Well, I have a couple of mutations, but they're not the cool ones. If you would like some of my psoriasis.
And then the fact that coriander tastes like soap.
Only sometimes.
For me, always.
Not for me. It's like a half and half thing. Because I love it sometimes.
It's like the losing the draw with mutant powers. Like, okay, for you, coriander tastes weird. But for you, you have got heightened agility and a healing factor, and you've got bone claws. Like, God damn it.
You have a predisposition for diabetes. Have that as well.
Yeah. Your thyroid does not work.
Hey, stop talking about all my medical conditions.
All right, moving on. David Carney. Being turned into a sentinel is like being turned into a Borg from Star Trek. A fate worse than death. One character I couldn't care about was Jack Bauer's daughter in 24. If you did start a 10-hour podcast, I would listen. Recently, I mean, we almost did that with Cape Crusader. It was 5 hours, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Actually, probably longer, 6 hours. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Hey, if you haven't listened to it, you can go ahead and check out the playlist.
Yeah, I mean...
Did you see what I did there?
Yeah. Good plug-in. Recently, I listened to a Batman supercut by the late great comic historian, which was just under 11 and a half hours. Keep up the great content, Mary and Luke. Mary gets first billing again.
Obviously. Oh my gosh, you guys want to know something? This just has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about. But if you ever just want to sit and listen to something or just have like a calming watch time, the Watchmen DVD, I don't know if it's on anything else, but it's the comic of it.
The motion comic.
Yeah, the motion comic of it.
I wouldn't say Watchmen was calming though.
Like, I'm talking about like if you're just one of those people like me where it's just not, you don't have to actually just, like a TV show, you have to like sit there for hours and hours and hours. That's just a couple of hours, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like 3 hours long, something like that.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know why I told you that.
I was going to say I've got it on DVD, but
then
we got rid of all of our DVDs, didn't we? So I might not have it anymore.
I watched it when Luke sent it to my house in the States.
All right, last comment then is from RDP16 Rules. Hello, and he says, hello, Luke and Mary.
Hola.
I got first billing that time. That's nice. I loved X-Men 97. It has this perfect balance of modern storytelling and nostalgia. I felt like Wolverine meme that Hugh Jackman recently reacted while watching it, with holding the picture. Yeah. Between this and another recent thing, I have finally become a fan of Gambit. Speaking of that tragic episode, I got a story. Back when I was in college, I had a roommate who ran a long-form TTRPG based on X-Men. I mean, we had a lot of games that we ran back then, but X-Men is the most relevant. Whenever a character would die in our games, we would take the time to honour that character by feeling the loss of the character as our own while listening to a female cover of Hallelujah. Naturally, I had to mute the funeral scene the second time I watched it and listened to Hallelujah. It was cathartic. On a much lighter note, I have been running a game of Marvel Multiverse recently and got a chance to run the Deadpool one-shot. It's a very silly, very action-packed, and a lot of fun. Pretty soon my group will start a game set just after the end of X-Men 97. I am very excited to see how different my story will end up compared to the actual cartoon. I'm looking forward to your review of the new movie. Well, I hope it's delivered. I'm not sure if we'd say it was a review and more just like an ambling conversation that just kind of ping-ponged around.
Which is most of our podcasts.
Yeah, we have such terrible structure. I have people send an email saying, oh, hey, would you like to collaborate on a podcast? Maybe I could come on yours, you can come on mine. I said, yeah, I'll come on yours. But I don't know what I'm doing with my one. I don't know until the day we're recording it most of the time. We haven't even decided what the next flip side is, have we?
Oh,
we're going to have to talk about this afterwards. Mm-hmm. Anyway, finally, some more hashtag Totally Schway questions. What show or series would you like to see get the X-Men 97 treatment? The obvious answer is Spider-Man, but I'd also like to see Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 87. What's your pick, Mary? I've got one. Do you want me to use mine?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You want Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a cheat. How about Spawn?
Oh, nobody told me I could say Spawn.
Yeah, get Brad Rader back to direct a couple of episodes as well.
I take it back.
So you want Spawn?
I want Spawn.
Okay, instead of Spawn, I'm gonna say... Oof.
You know what I love about Spawn is how gritty and gnarly it is, because that is the opposite of who I am.
Keith David had a wonderful voice.
When is Keith David not great?
I can't think of an instance.
Yeah. Please don't come up with any stories.
Yeah.
Because that would ruin my whole life. So, what were you going to say?
I just keep thinking of Spawn. That's it. That's where my brain's going.
We can both do Spawn.
All right,
I
we're
took
going
it
to say
from
Spawn.
you anyway.
Yeah.
Spawn.
Spawn it is. Okay, next question. If DC had a void space like Deadpool and Wolverine, who do you think would be there? Ambush Bug. What about you, Mary? Who are you picking?
Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
Yeah, he absolutely would be there. He absolutely would.
Like, he had to be. They'd be like, no, there's no place in hell for you. Oh, or the guy who plays what's his face?
Sinestro.
Yes.
Mark Strong.
Yeah. And what the big I can't even remember their names. I know their names from the TV show and stuff like that, but when it comes to that movie, I have completely blocked it out.
What Captain Marvel movie?
The
Shazam.
brain guy.
The brain.
The Green
Oh,
Lantern.
yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ! I can't remember his name, but he was like a Howard Hughes play on that. Oh God, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, but they would all be down. Like the
all
whole
of the
cast.
characters. Yeah. So
The
Mark
whole
Strong,
cast.
Sinestro, Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern, and the big brain guy, whose name is just—it's on the tip of my tongue, and it's really annoying me.
The guy who plays him is a really great actor.
It's Skarsgård, wasn't he? Yeah.
He's a great actor. And that's all I have to say about that character.
Final question is: Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had a female Mr. Freeze. Cape Crusader has a female Penguin. What other characters would you like to see gender swapped? I think a male version of Fire and Ice could be cool, and female Etrigan Demon would be incredible. I would say...
So you can't do Wonder Woman because you have Superman.
Yeah, and you can't do Superman because you've got Supergirl. You can't do
Yeah.
Batman because you've got Batwoman. And you can't do Robin because there are female Robins. And there is a female Joker.
But there's not a lady Bruce Wayne.
Bryce Wayne.
We could do that.
Yeah, you could do that. Could do that.
That's not who I'm gonna pick though.
No.
Good Lord. You know what? I would like to see a lady. You know what? I'm gonna say it. A lady Man-Bat or a male.
There was one. There was a lady
I didn't know
Man-Bat.
that.
In Terror in the Sky, Francine Langstrom was the Man-Bat. Or the She-Bat, I suppose.
Okay, then, you know what? I don't want, oh. No, because we have Catman already, don't we?
Yeah, we do have Catman. I think it's very common for gender flipping characters in DC. So you've got
That's kind
you've
of the
got
point
Batwoman,
that we're making here.
Yeah, you've got
is that,
Batwoman, you've got Supergirl, Catman, She-Bat.
Oh, we could have a Lady Riddler.
You could. I think there was one.
What about Lady Poison Ivy?
Lady Poison Ivy already exists. You
No,
mean
like,
a male?
A Sir Poison Ivy.
Yeah, maybe.
We're looking at one of Luke's posters, by the way, which shows loads of the villains.
I'm looking around the whole room, just like going, come on, something inspired me.
But
it's
this is the whole point, is that it has been done before, and I don't know.
It's fairly standard.
Male Harley Quinn? But I just don't see... Oh my god, you could totally do... No, I can see it now. It would be... Yeah, that would be alright.
I would say a female Spectre. I don't think there's been a female Spectre. I could be wrong, though.
I don't know, but I wouldn't care. Maybe do it with all of them.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
No reason not to.
Or how about this? Let's have androgynous characters. I love androgyny.
You can do that as well. Yeah.
I love androgyny.
All right, so that's all the comments.
Yeah.
My throat is very dry. All right, so we had to pause for a moment and confer and compare notes. So Mary, I think we've landed on a topic to talk about next time. So
That is Man of Steel.
yeah, the movie Man of Steel.
Yeah. There's a reason why I like Henry Cavill's Superman so much, and we'll talk about that on the next episode of Totally Schway Flipside. And again, I'm gonna promote my own little podcast here. We've got some really cool episodes that we have done in the past, and yeah, if you want to listen to some of them, that's awesome. But I do want to say thank you guys so much, because I'm at like 200 something subscribers now, and I can't thank you guys enough, because that's 200 people in this world that are actually listening to my husband's voice and my voice, and those are people that don't have to subscribe. And each and every one of you that actually get to this point in this podcast, well, and just in general, thank you so much. And it really, really means a lot to me. And it really, it makes my heart feel like I might be kind of cool. I don't know. Probably not, but hey, for a moment I was. So thank you very much, and thanks for listening this week.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks everyone. Bye.